Uh, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
First of all, to say thank you because you have spending your time to attend the interview. We are three from Administrasi Niaga and Business Administration D4. We really want to say thank you. Thank you very much because you attend this interview. First of all, we're gonna let us introduce ourselves. My name is Rafi Fauzan, and
My name is Anza Samratul Fuada.
My name is Tita Bipera Slamet.
okay, may we know what is your name?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aditya Febriansyah. I'm a lecturer in Civil Engineering Department, Politeknik Negeri Bandung. My field of expertise is in geotechnical engineering. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. I think we're gonna start the interview with the first question. It's come from Anasta Samratul Fuada.
Is being a lecturer your dream or not?
I'm sorry.
Is being a lecturer your dream or not?
Actually, becoming a lecturer is one of my achievement, one of my dream, because since little I want to be a teacher. I want to teach on a middle school level, on a high school level, but I had the opportunity to continue my study to magister program. So becoming a lecturer is my dream, obviously.
Okay, for the next question, may I know what lessons did you teach?
As I say before, my field of expertise in geotechnical engineering. It based on soil, soil, etc. I teach on foundation engineering 1 and 2 atau rekayasa fondasi 1 dan 2, foundation engineering, and soil testing laboratory, ujian tanah.
Next question. Because you are from business administration, so we don't even know what is engineering civil. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what is your teaching?
Okay.
What is your?
Okay, so first of all, civil engineering consists of 5 fields of expertise. 5: structural engineering, geotechnical engineering, construction management, water resource engineering, and transportation engineering. Regarding what another field of expertise, I will discuss only the geotechnical part. Yeah, the geotechnical engineering teach about how to calculate or how to design, such as substructure of building or bridges or etc. Substructure means the foundation, the soil that support the structure itself, the characteristic of the properties of the soil. If we fail to calculate according to the standard, the structure it will raise the risk to collapse. Then calculate poorly, such as like that. What else? What you want to know?
Why did you choose to become a teacher in Poban? Is there a special reason?
I actually one of alumni that has opportunity to teach in my what is it called in my alma mater. Yeah, I graduate from Diploma 4 Road and Bridges Design Engineering, D4 TPJJ, and I continue my study in Magister of Infrastructure Engineering here in Polban also. I finished my undergrad and my graduate in Polban. So the opportunities to actually teach here is yeah, I'm very lucky gitu ya, to be part of Polban gitu, to be part of my alma mater again. And another reason is because I have what is it called?
Okay,
I have amanah ya. Bahasa Inggrisnya apa ya, amanah? Amanah from my late lecturer here, may he rest in peace, to become part of Civil Engineering Department Politeknik Negeri Bandung.
Okay, for next question. How long have you been teaching in Polban?
I actually became lecturer in mid 2019, so it has been 1.5 years.
Okay. The next question is from me. Like
Yeah.
you have said before, in engineering civil, you will calculate before building some structure. Like I've been read about survey and mapping. I want to ask about that. If I want to build some house, do we really need to survey and mapping about the ground near the house, or we just build the house like there?
Okay. So the building, the type of building in civil engineering is also classified in which the importance of each building. If you want to calculate such as high-rise building with let's say 20 floors, 15 floors, etc., or bridges with 100 meters span, etc. You will need to calculate first the structural, the geotechnical part, and other parts also, to ensure the safety, to ensure the safety of the structure. If you want to build, let's say houses, public houses, let's say resident area, the building that is not too heavy or light building. Actually, first of all, you need to actually calculate this. But in practical, people or developer usually doesn't need to calculate because the load are lighter than the like I said before, high-rise building like bridges, etc.
Okay.
But actually also depend on the soil, depend on the area you want to build. Let's say you want to build in the Gedebage area Kota Bandung, which consists of soft soil or tanah lunak, soft soil. If you put your foundation directly on top of that soil, your house will probably be sinking. Yeah, so you need to install like deeper foundation. So it actually depend on the area. So the answer to the question, you need to survey first? Yes, of course you need.
Okay, next question. What are the ups and downs of being a lecturer in Polban?
I'm sorry, up and down?
Of being a lecturer in Polban?
Okay. This is rather difficult, yeah. The up of becoming lecturer here, since I am one of the alumni, that opportunity to teach here. So I have the I have the advantages because I know the environment better than other alumni from another universities. I already know the lecturer, the other lecturer. I already know the technician here. So to adapt, I can adapt more faster, I think, than another lecturer from another universities. The other advantages of being lecturer here, I think the atmosphere of being in vocational universities. So you have to really update your knowledge about technologies that used in the field right now, such as foundation. Foundation came from let's say early sekitar tahun 1700-an itu udah fondasi udah ada gitu ya. But the technologies keep always developing. So you in being lecturer here, you need to update your knowledge about such things. The atmosphere here keep me like want to improve myself, something like that. Because another lecturer that always keep pushing me around to service and something like that. Disadvantages of working here. Downside, apa ya? Maybe because the disadvantages, or I think there is not any downside, yeah, from what I work here, but maybe I have some complaints, yeah. But it is a difference, yeah. I have some complaints because the background of students who came here is very different, yeah. Because we are in vocational high school, vocational higher school, vocational universities. The background of student came from ordinary high school, from let's say kejuruan or SMK. It's very different. People from SMK can adapt and understood faster than student from ordinary high school, something like that. But eventually they learn to adapt to actually learn here. Yeah. Maybe that is the downside of being lecturer here. Is you have to be more patient. I think that's yeah, you have to be more patient so that the knowledge are spread evenly among all students. I think that's it.
Okay, for the next, would you like to tell me about any education taken to become a civil engineering lecturer?
Any education, I'm sorry?
Any education taken to become a civil engineering lecturer?
My education to become a teacher here. So
Yes.
to become a lecturer in Polban is under the Ministry of Education and Culture. Actually, you have one only qualification, is to become on magister level before you turn 35. So the maximum age to register here is 35 years old, and you have to on magister level to to apply it here. Maybe to become a geotechnical part. In geotechnical part field of expertise to teach here, you actually need to have some let's say classes in your magister program, such as foundation engineering, advanced foundation engineering, advanced soil mechanics, earthquake engineering, and etc. Many advanced. Why you need to actually learn the advanced, let's say advanced soil mechanic. So you can in civil engineering we only teach the basic, the basic of soil mechanics, such as soil mechanics 1 and 2. But in magister level, you actually need to learn the advanced soil mechanics, So you can explain accurately about the soil properties, about the how to design foundation, etc. So if student ask you about such thing, you already know the answer.
Next question for me. I wondering about this engineering civil. Let's say if we already have the design about the construction to build bridge maybe or flyover like that, and we already have a plan to build it right there, right some point. But like you say, it's always about the soil. What if when we have already the design, when we have already all the plan, but the soil is not, it's not good for that construction? What will happen to that plan?
First of all, I think I have to explain a little about foundation. Foundation is actually the main support of the structure itself, the support of the structure that transfers the load from above, which is from bridges, etc., to the soil. So if the foundation is actually designed poorly, the the potential of the structure, such as bridges, high-rise building, dam, roads, and etc., is potential to collapse. The risk of the collapse of the structure will increase if the foundation is designed poorly. Doesn't matter if the soil in place is poor, is how to mitigate that. If the soil poor, let's say in Gede Bage area that has a soft soil layer of approximately 10 to 15 meters. So, 0 sampai 15 meter tanahnya lunak. If you put your foundation directly on top of that soil, on that type of soil, it's almost sure that your structure will collapse. So you have to put your foundation in the elevation of negative 15 meters, or the hard soil layer. So doesn't matter if the soil in place is poor, or let's say is very soft, is very loose, and etc. It's us to mitigate that. I work in geotechnical engineering. We beside the foundation, we also design soil retaining structure, or dinding penahan tanah, soil retaining structure. So you have to So you have to go against nature regarding the slope. You know slope? Slope is lereng.
Oh yeah, okay.
We have different terminology in in civil engineering ya. So saya mungkin jelasin pakai bahasa dulu nggak apa-apa ya, agak sulit nih.
Okay. Okay.
Jadi selain desain fondasi, saya juga desain dinding penahan tanah. Dinding penahan tanah atau soil retaining structure tadi, ini pekerjaan yang melawan alam. Jadi lereng yang udah ada nih, lereng gitu ya, saya potong mau bikin jalan. Longsor pasti longsor ya kan, saya potong, ya nggak?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Nah, ketika kamu potong itu lereng, kamu harus bikin soil retaining structure tadi to mitigate the potential of the
next challenge. Apa di mute Bapak?
Dari tadi ini?
Nggak, baru.
Oh, so tadi saya mau desain gitu ya, saya potong. Ketika kamu potong pasti tanahnya longsor, gitu. Tadinya sudah seimbang begitu ya, si lereng itu mau saya potong, mau saya bikin jalan, dia pasti longsor. Nah, kita sebagai civil engineer harus memitigasi itu gitu ya. Ini tuh pasti longsor gitu. Jadi memang udah resiko pekerjaan. Kita harus desain suatu struktur penahan tanah gitu. Jadi tadi juga saya udah jelaskan nggak masalah misalnya tanah di lapangan jelek, lunak gitu ya, lunak. Kalau lunak itu kalau bikin pondasi itu pasti turun gitu ya, pasti jatuh, pasti runtuh begitu ya. Nah, ini kita sebagai civil engineer harus mengerti itu gitu, harus memasukkan itu dalam kalkulasi kita. Harus memitigasi itu gitu. Tadi saya jelaskan misalnya tadi di Gede Bage itu 15 meter tanahnya lunak gitu ya. Kita nggak bisa nyimpan pondasi di atas tanah begitu aja. Jadi kita harus nyimpan pondasi itu seenggak-enggaknya di min 15 meter melewati tanah melewati tanah lunak tadi begitu. Banyak jenisnya in foundation engineering, a lot of classification of foundation, starting from shallow foundation, deep foundation, and for deep foundation there is multiple like construction method to mitigate the challenges in the field. Menjawab nggak? Enggak ya?
Menjawab. It's all about the design, not about the soil. Civil engineering must think about it, how to fight the nature.
Yeah, as a designer and the field will be different cases. In the field, anything can happen from let's say ormas datang begitu ya, minta duit begitu. Let's say ternyata tanahnya or the soil is harder than actually in design gitu ya. In design this is soft soil, but in the field this is actually rocks. Let's say rocks. So you can place foundation here. That is challenges that we have to overcome in the field. So you actually have to mitigate the risk of in the field, such as soft soil, such as so the answer is basically answering your first question about do you need to survey first. So you have to survey to mitigate those problems. Gitu.
Okay, next question. Then I want to know what student criteria do you expect?
Student criteria. Hmm, I will try to answer. If I wrong, correct me, please. I don't have such criteria for student here in Polban. What I want to like they have is they I think the one qualification need to apply here is you have actually to have you need to have high curiosity. You want to know more always. You always want to know more. You always want to know more. I think that if you have if you're curious about something, you will pursue it no matter what happened. If you didn't know how to design a foundation, if you're curious about it, you will you will study it. You will look at YouTube about case studies, etc. So I don't have like criteria, let's say, for my student. I always want them to have curiosity in their mind. Many of my friends that, let's say, in class they did they doesn't understand the theoretical about such theory about one of classes, let's say, but in the field it's different. They, because the demand of the work, they have to actually learn the cases, karena kamu nggak tahu di lapangan itu kamu bakal disuruh apa sama bosnya nyuruh ngerjain ini, ya kamu harus bisa ini, begitu kan. Jadi kalau misalnya mahasiswa saya punya rasa ingin tahu yang tinggi gitu ya, mereka bisa gitu. Saya kasih apa juga nyari, saya kasih apa nyari gitu. Di lapangan terbawa sampai nanti kerja gitu. Terbawa sampai nanti kerja. Jadi ketika, let's say, the final project of one student, they took structural engineering to design like upper structure of bridges. In work, the boss instructed you to calculate the foundation. You have to actually calculate the foundation. Nggak bisa nolak bos gitu ya. Pak, saya dulu struktur bukan tanah gitu. Nggak bisa. Tapi kalau kamu rasa ingin tahunya tinggi, kamu pasti cari tahu dulu gitu cara desain fondasi gimana, walaupun lupa-lupa gitu ya.
Okay, for our next question, may I know what are the benefits of geotechnical engineering in life?
The benefit of
geotechnical engineering in life.
In life, like everyday life, or the actual the benefit in everyday life, you mean, or in work?
Everyday life.
I think the geotechnical engineering doesn't really reflect on everyday life. The construction management, the structural engineering, maybe they can blindly calculate entire houses, something like that gitu ya. But the the benefits, I think, to in everyday life from geotechnical engineering. Apa ya? Sometimes when I let's say jalan-jalan gitu, jalan-jalan apa nih bahasa Inggris? Masa walk-walk bukan ya? Ketika saya jalan-jalan begitu ya, saya ini saya bingung jawabnya karena geoteknik engineering itu sebenarnya di kehidupan sehari-hari itu jarang nemu gitu ya, jarang nemu. Paling kalau saya lagi ke hutan, nggak ke hutan sih, lagi jalan-jalan, lihat apa nih bangunan, lihat lereng begitu apa gitu ya, ini lereng aman. Tapi I think it doesn't really reflect on in my everyday life being a geotechnical engineer. Maybe if you are in the field of expertise construction management or structural engineering. Construction management is manajemen konstruksi. So in manajemen konstruksi there is a lot of everyday benefits. You can manage anything in your life, manage your time, and etc. But becoming a civil engineer, beside in geotechnical engineering, we other field of activities we learn that also in universities. That one of the classes that actually reflect on my everyday life is manajemen konstruksi or construction management. So you can manage your life, manage your time, manage your budget, manage your etc.
How about the benefits in work?
Benefits in work, I actually, beside becoming a lecturer here, I also work professionally as geotechnical engineer. I design foundation, I design soil retaining wall, and etc. So yeah, it's very beneficial to because my knowledge and my career is in accordance.
Okay.
Last.
My next.
Oh ya, silakan.
Oh yeah, first.
Mana ini ya?
I have some lighter question. We all know if you are a engineer lecturer, so you all know about ancient building like Egypt Pyramid, Menara Pisa, Stonehenge. Kan it's all about the design. Do you have some ancient building that you impress yourself? Like, oh, this is so amazing. May you tell us?
Like ancient ones probably will be. I really adore the structural art or architectural, actually here in Bandung, such as Konferensi Asia Afrika, such as Gedung Merdeka. I really adore the architectural and the structural of those buildings. Another example will be Savoy Homan, Grand Priangar. The interesting part is they back then they didn't really know how to precisely calculate the structural part, the foundation, but the structure up until now is very sound and safe. There is no cracks, there is no, let's say, collapsing indication, something like that. I really adore. I always wondering how they calculate this building back then. Back when there is a lot of misconception uh, about the theoretical regarding foundation engineering or structural engineering. Back then there is a lot of corruption in the organization that in VOC gitu ya, in VOC there is a lot of corruption, but they actually they manage to build structures that can maintain up until now. So I don't have like interest in like ancient building, but I really adore the building that has actually here in Bandung that is built like hundreds years ago. Yeah, any further question?
Okay, the last question from me. May I know, are the facilities at Polban is enough for your lessons?
For my what?
Are the facilities at Polban is enough for your lessons?
For my license?
Ya, buat
License?
ya mata kuliah Bapak.
Oh, saya dengarnya license. Actually, in civil engineering department, the facilities, the infrastructure here is very equipped, is very complete, is very is up to date. We have 10 laboratoriums in civil engineering department. I will not explain any further of, but all the equipment here is very up to date. I think one of best laboratory in Bandung is actually in civil engineering department Polytechnic Bandung for civil engineering field. I actually believe that. In ITB or in another universities, I think they didn't have equipment that is more updated, than our laboratory. The sensors, the computer is actually up to date, and back then we use like manual readings from dials, contohnya from dials manual reading, but today we have sensors and we can digitally monitor the tests that we do in laboratorium. Yeah, in civil engineering actually very equipped and up to date.
This is my last question. Like we all have been discussed, we need to survey. I wondering how to building a bridge, which is connecting between two islands. So you need to survey the sea, the bottom of the sea, and the soil in the sea. How they do that? I don't know how, so I was scared. Just wondering how.
Okay, there is actually very a few steps. Yeah, if you want to build like a connecting island bridges, something like that. Before you actually design the actual bridge, you need to do feasibility study or studi kelayakan. Apakah jembatan ini akan benefit nggak nih ke masyarakat? Apa jangan-jangan jembatan ini hanya kepentingan politik aja, gitu? Supaya apa? Misalnya pemerintahan siapa? Oh, saya bikin jembatan, begitu kan? Nah, you actually have to do a study to determine that the bridge that will construct here will be benefit for the citizen in the area. So you have actually to do study first. After you do the study that and determine the benefit, this will be beneficial to the citizen of this island. Let's say you have to do certain surveys, such as topographic surveys and bathymetric surveys. Topographic is to map the land, so you can so you know where to put your bridge, something like that. Bathymetric survey is to map the depth of the ocean. Jadi tadi survei topografi untuk memetakan daratan, survei bathymetri untuk memetakan lautan. Dasar laut itu bagaimana bentuknya gitu. Bathymetric survey. After you did those, you determine the position or the location that needs to be that the soil test or field testing that will be jadi setelah kamu survei topografi dan bathymetri kan dapat nih jembatannya di mana, panjangnya berapa dan lain-lain gitu ya. Kan nggak bisa ya, misalnya kamu pengen jembatan di sini gitu ya, kita harus lihat dulu tanahnya gimana begitu kan ya, apakah digeser bakalan lebih murah atau enggak gitu. Biasanya kan bisa ada survei tadi, feasibility study. Nah setelah di survei si bathymetri dan topografinya, kamu udah dapat nih lintasannya begitu ya, kamu lakukan uji tanah. The soil testing is actually regulated in according to SNI or Standar Nasional Indonesia, in which number you need to, or which number of tests you need to do in the field after you do soil survey or soil test. You can begin to actually calculate the structure, calculate the foundation, something like that. Another like why you need to do land surveying or topographic survey, because the head of its bridges is located in different islands. So if you poorly like do the surveying or the topographic surveying, if you do it poorly, the head of bridges will not be connected. It will be shifted. Saya ada meme. Saya cari dulu meme-nya. Sebentar ya. Hmm. Bisa share screen nggak ya saya? Saya ngeliatin dikit aja.
Nggak bisa share screen katanya Pak, soalnya dianya nge-freeze hostnya.
Di itunya yang disable apanya tuh? Partisipannya di checklist di yang security-nya.
Maksudnya dia si Anissa itu kursornya hilang.
Lalu
Nggak ada kursornya.
Tapi
saya kirim
screen-nya
aja. Saya kirim di chat aja.
Udah bisa.
Oh, iya.
Ya udah, nggak bisa saya kirim di chat aja udah. Jadi sebelum kamu rencanain fondasi, kamu kan harus ngukur dulu survei pemetaan namanya ya. Tujuannya apa? Sekarang strukturnya kuat gitu ya, strukturnya mampu begitu. Tapi ketika pelaksanaan kamu surveinya salah, tadi land surveying topografinya salah, nanti yang kejadian di gambar itu.
Iya.
Jadi semua aspek tadi lima bidang di teknik sipil itu semua punya andil dalam satu struktur. Tadi kan geoteknik itu bagian pondasi. Pondasi kacau, struktur kacau semua. Struktur itu bagian ini nih. Ini saya jembatan nih. Nah, struktur itu bagian girdernya ini, apa jembatannya gitu ya. Itu pondasinya.
Iya.
Kacau, struktur collapse. Construction management, bagian budgeting dan time scheduling. Itu di manage poorly gitu ya, project nggak akan selesai dengan tepat waktu, tepat mutu, tepat biaya. Transportation itu sebenarnya sebelum bikin jembatan, banyak nggak yang lewat di sini? Demand untuk dibangun jembatan ini ada nggak gitu? Jangan tadi saya jelasin bikin jembatan itu karena kepentingan politik, tapi nggak ada yang pakai. Gitu. Orang-orang misalnya lebih senang pakai perahu, gitu ya, pakai ferry dan lain-lain. Terus satu lagi tuh transportasi sumber daya air. Jembatan itu kalau misalnya kita nggak tahu, let's say the elevation of the sea level, you didn't know that, you didn't actually survey the sea level elevation, jembatan kamu bakal banjir, will be flooded. Jadi 5 itu juga dalam satu konstruksi itu semua ada partnya. Gitu. Kok saya jadi ngajarin ya?
Ya, wondering, just penasaran. Okay, sir. Thank you for your time, for your all explanation, for this interview, for being our narasumber. We all want to say thank you very much. Jadi, thank you for you want to being in this interview. I think that's it from us. This interview is just that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to say thank you also to Anissa, to Ditabi, and Raffi to invite me for this interview. I hope my explanation will at least will inspire. If you have further question, if my explanation is actually you didn't understand my explanation, feel free to contact me through WhatsApp. If you want further explanation of what I explained before, please contact me via WhatsApp or email. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Pak. Have a good
Pak.
Thank you,
day.
Pak. Thank you for all time.
Ya. Saya live ya.
Oke, Pak. Terima kasih. Baik.